television. Bank of America's stadium's capacity is 75,525. There were 71,205 in attendance. That's a preseason game. Ratings draw. He has the #1 jersey sales, 5th round pick. Everybody, he's a star, and everybody who knows it, except the Cleveland Browns, who still, for some inexplicable reason.
News, real talk. This isn't about the play no more. This is about $40 million a year canceling out $28 million a year. You might want to listen to me. I'm giving it to you on the real. This is Real Issues with one Tony J. Sanders has signed, not going to, has signed to be implemented or say released. It's got a release date, first or second week of the league, you know, because naturally it's contingent on him getting a jersey.
What was supposed to be a standard rookie transition has now become one of the boldest moves in NFL marketing history. Nike has handed Shedeur Sanders a contract so massive that it places him above every rookie who has ever entered the league when it comes to endorsement money. Overnight, the young quarterback is not just a player to watch, he's the centerpiece of a corporate gamble that's already making waves in locker rooms and front offices alike. The question now is whether this shocking deal will elevate Sanders into football's next great star or set an impossible bar before he's even taken a professional snap. TV ratings spiked 29% nationally the moment Shedeur Sanders made his preseason debut, and that surge was no coincidence. The announcement of Nike's record-setting rookie deal didn't just move headlines, it translated directly into more eyes, more tickets sold, and more merchandise moved than any other rookie in recent memory. Within 48 hours of the deal being leaked, Fanatics reported that Sanders' jersey sales climbed to the number. 2 spot across the entire league, trailing only Patrick Mahomes, and in the Cleveland market specifically, his jersey outsold every other athlete combined for the week. Training camp seats that were usually available at face value were suddenly reselling for 3 times their original cost, as fans wanted to be in the building to say they saw the highest paid rookie endorsement athlete before the season even began. The ripple effect hit television too. The Browns' preseason game, which typically averaged around 1.3 million viewers nationally in prior years, cleared 1.7 million the night Sanders played extended snaps. Locally, the Cleveland affiliate reported a 42% jump in viewership compared to the same week the previous preseason. Even neutral NFL fans tuned in, curious to see what kind of quarterback had inspired Nike to invest in a contract estimated between $10 million and $15 million annually, a figure that dwarfs the endorsement portfolios of rookies like Trevor Lawrence or Joe Burrow in their first year. This is not a gradual rise, it's a jolt, and the league has taken notice. For the Browns, the immediate consequence is both a blessing and a complication. Sanders' rookie base salary under the NFL's structured pay scale is barely $1.1 million this year, which is a rounding error compared to what Nike is funneling into his brand. That disparity flips the traditional NFL hierarchy upside down. Veterans in the locker room, players grinding for contracts in the $3 to $5 million range, are suddenly looking at a rookie who can potentially make double their annual income off one shoe deal alone. It sets up dynamics where Sanders' success or failure on the field doesn't just affect his career, but the way the roster perceives him, and by extension, the way coaches can manage him. On the business side, the impact is immediate and measurable. Sportsbooks in Las Vegas and New Jersey reported a 35% increase in Browns-related prop bets the week following Nike's announcement, with wagers on Sanders' rookie passing yards, and touchdowns dwarfing the action for other rookies like J.J. McCarthy or Michael Penix Jr. The buzz around Cleveland wasn't just hope, it was quantifiable market movement. Nike's gamble wasn't to make Sanders a household name in 3 years, it was to cash in on hype right now, capitalizing on a perfect storm of celebrity lineage, college stardom, and the Browns' hunger for a new face of the franchise. But the trade-off is pressure. The minute Sanders throws an interception or misses an open read, it will be magnified under the weight of his Nike deal. Fans who spent triple on resale tickets won't accept rookie mistakes in the same forgiving way they might with another quarterback. Every possession is now tied to a business narrative, where completion percentage and passer rating aren't just football stats, they're data points in Nike's billion-dollar marketing machine. If Sanders connects on 68% of his throws in the preseason, Nike's ad campaign is validated. If he dips below 55% in live action, the storyline flips into whether the deal was premature. That tension is unlike anything a rookie has faced in this league, and it's already shaping how the Browns' season will be covered from week 1 onward. The real weight of Nike's decision lands in what it means right now, for Sanders, for the Browns, and for the NFL as a whole. On paper, Shedeur's rookie deal with Cleveland pays him just over $1.1 million this season, with a 4-year structure that will total roughly $8 million if he sees it through without an early extension. That figure puts him near the bottom rung of starting quarterbacks in the league. By contrast, the Nike contract vaults him into a separate economic tier, rumored to be worth between $10 and $15 million annually. In other words, he'll be earning more from sneakers and commercials in his first season than he will from throwing passes for Cleveland over the next 4 years combined. That gap underscores why the story isn't simply about football anymore. It's about the new financial reality of what it means to be a star before proving yourself at the professional level. Inside the Browns facility, the ripple is impossible to ignore. Teammates like Amari Cooper and Myles Garrett command big NFL salaries, but neither walked into a locker room as a rookie with a marketing deal this large. Sanders' arrival instantly sets him apart, and that matters in an NFL environment where respect is usually earned through reps, not reputation. Reports from Berea suggest practice attendance for open sessions jumped 21% once Sanders was announced as the tentative preseason starter, and fans weren't just wearing Browns gear. They were showing up in the early release of Sanders' Nike cleats, which sold out online in under 4 minutes. That type of immediate cultural saturation shifts how players view him, whether they admit it publicly or not. The league office is paying attention too. Preseason television numbers typically slide in August, especially for non-marquee matchups. Yet when Sanders was under center, Cleveland's Week 2 exhibition drew nearly 2 million viewers nationally, outperforming a Packers game on the same night that featured Jordan Love. That's a rare reversal of attention. Locally, ticket resale prices at Cleveland Browns Stadium rose from an average of $46 to over $120, a 160% increase, the largest bump of any preseason ticket this year. Fans weren't paying for a game, they were paying to witness the start of a marketing experiment that had never been attempted on this scale. The why is simple. Sanders represents crossover appeal that extends beyond the NFL. College football fans remember his Colorado days, where his games drew record streaming audiences for Fox and ESPN, with some broadcasts spiking 9.3 million viewers, the highest of the entire college season. That audience didn't vanish. It carried over, and Nike is betting heavily that those fans will stick with him into his NFL career. For the Browns, that crossover appeal means selling jerseys to fans in states far outside Ohio, a revenue stream normally reserved for megastars like Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. But with opportunity comes scrutiny. Sanders has only a handful of professional drives under his belt, and already his brand value has exceeded that of half the league's starting quarterbacks. If he posts a passer rating below 80 in his first month, critics won't just say he's developing, they'll frame it as Nike's billion-dollar misstep. Sports radio chatter has already started drawing comparisons to Zion Williamson, who landed a $75 million rookie shoe deal with Jordan Brand, only to see his early years slowed by injuries and inconsistent play. The implication is clear. Endorsements create storylines that football alone can't contain. Right now, Sanders sits at the intersection of hype and performance. The Browns coaching staff has to weigh giving him developmental reps against the tidal wave of attention his presence demands. Every drive he takes is now content, every throw a headline. And while that's great for television partners, it compresses the margin of error for both Sanders and the team. Fans who paid inflated ticket prices or bought jerseys on the secondary market aren't invested in a 3-year development plan. They want returns now. That disconnect between natural rookie growth and immediate consumer expectations is why this deal matters today more than ever. Unlike most rookies who enter the league with modest endorsement checks and the hope of eventually growing into star status, Shedeur Sanders begins his career in rare air. To understand the scope of Nike's gamble, it's worth putting his deal side by side with some of the most hyped rookies in both football and basketball history. When Cam Newton Payton was drafted first overall in 2011, his Under Armour endorsement was considered massive for its time, reportedly valued around $1 million per year. Andrew Luck entered the league in 2012 with a small Nike shoe and apparel arrangement, again under $1 million annually. Both players were consensus top picks, immediate starters, and yet their rookie endorsement income didn't come close to touching what Sanders just signed for before throwing his first NFL touchdown. Fast forward to Trevor Lawrence in 2021, the closest modern quarterback comparison. Lawrence signed a deal with Adidas worth somewhere in the low 7 figures annually, a big number at the time, but still only half of what's estimated for Sanders' Nike package. Joe Burrow, despite being the Heisman winner and #1 pick in 2020, entered the league without a shoe deal of this magnitude, instead building his endorsement steadily as he led Cincinnati to the Super Bowl. Even Patrick Mahomes, now with a $500 million contract from the Chiefs and his own signature shoe with Adidas, began his career with relatively modest deals before exploding once he won MVP. Sanders leapfrogged all of them in year 1, and that fact alone puts him in a category by himself. Basketball provides an even clearer frame of reference. LeBron James's $90 million Nike deal straight out of high school was the benchmark for a generation, setting the standard for how brands could leverage hype into immediate business. Zion Williamson's Jordan Brand deal in 2019, valued at $75 million, reinforced that precedent. Sanders isn't near those astronomical totals yet, but the scale of his contract compared to NFL rookies mirrors the shock factor of those NBA agreements. Football simply hasn't seen anything like it, and the implications for future stars are significant. The timing matters too. In past eras, rookies didn't have social media audiences in the millions before they entered the league. Sanders does. His Instagram following, bolstered by his father Deion Sanders' national spotlight at Colorado, gave Nike a ready-made distribution channel for every commercial and campaign they plan to run. Compare that to Luck, whose Stanford years were largely invisible outside of hardcore fans, or even Burrow, who gained fame during one breakout season at LSU. Sanders' profile was already mainstream before he signed his rookie contract, which is why Nike felt confident in pushing beyond precedent. From a football standpoint, the contrast is equally stark. Quarterbacks like Robert Griffin III and Johnny Manziel came in with heavy hype and decent endorsement packages, but their deals were tied more closely to short-term flash than long-term projection. Griffin signed with Adidas in a deal reportedly worth $400,000 per year. Manziel's Nike deal was small by comparison, valued at under $500,000. Both fizzled quickly on the field, and with them the endorsements. Sanders is different because his payday is already insulated by his cultural footprint. Even if he struggles early, Nike can still market him as a personality, a face of a movement, not just a quarterback. That dual identity didn't exist in the same way for his predecessors. On the field, the numbers show how unusual this situation is. Sanders' base rookie salary, $1.1 million this year, is a fraction of what top veterans make. Deshaun Watson, the highest paid player on the Browns roster, pulls in over $46 million this season in salary and bonuses. Yet Sanders is the one with the shoe deal grabbing headlines, a reversal of status that can't be ignored. In other rookie years, pay hierarchy was clear. Veterans commanded salaries and endorsements. Rookies waited their turn. By contrast, Sanders enters the NFL with leverage no rookie has had in this generation, because his endorsement eclipses his professional salary by a factor of nearly 10 to 1. This is where history becomes instructive. Players like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady built their endorsement empires over decades of dominance, starting small and scaling up. Even Odell Beckham Jr., who had a signature Nike sneaker at the peak of his career, didn't get that push until he had established himself with highlight reel catches in New York. Sanders has been given that treatment from day one, which places him in uncharted territory. If he succeeds, it opens the door for future rookies with massive college followings to command similar deals. If he fails, it may scare brands away from going all in on unproven players again. The comparisons underline the gamble. Historically, when rookies with endorsement hype flamed out, the brand could pivot because the financial exposure was smaller. Johnny Manziel's Nike deal didn't move the needle for the company's bottom line. Robert Griffin III's Adidas contract didn't leave a dent when his career collapsed. But Shedeur's Nike deal is large enough to matter. It's an investment that demands a return, not just in shoe sales, but in cultural presence. And that makes every throw, every snap, and every press conference in Cleveland bigger than it would be for any other rookie quarterback. The deeper context behind Nike's record-breaking move reveals why this deal is about far more than one rookie quarterback. For Nike, Sanders is not just a football player, he's a bridge to a younger, more digitally engaged fan base that consumes the sport differently than past generations. In 2023, Nielsen reported that over 35% of NFL viewers under the age of 30 now watch games primarily through streaming platforms or short-form highlights, not traditional television. Sanders, with millions of followers across Instagram, TikTok, and X, gives Nike a direct pipeline into that demographic. Every time he posts a training clip in Nike gear, the company reaches more potential buyers than an entire Sunday Night Football commercial break. That organic reach is why Nike structured this contract to be aggressive. It's less about pure shoe sales in year one, and more about embedding Sanders as the face of a generational shift in how football stars are marketed. On the Browns side, the business benefits are already tangible. Ticket demand surged after Nike's announcement, with preseason home games selling out faster than any season since 2015, and resale platforms like StubHub reporting a 148% increase in average listing prices for Browns preseason tickets. Season ticket waitlists grew by nearly 3,000 names, a remarkable figure for a franchise that has often struggled to fill its stadium in lean years. Merchandise was no different. Sanders' Browns jersey quickly sold out in both home and away colors, and Nike's limited edition gold-trimmed version retailed at $174.99 but fetched over $500 on secondary markets within hours of release. These aren't abstract marketing wins, they're quantifiable business outcomes tied directly to his arrival and Nike's branding blitz. Television networks and streaming partners are cashing in too. Fox reported that its preseason coverage featuring Sanders saw a 27% jump in advertising revenue compared to the previous year's Browns slot as brands rushed to align themselves with the storyline. ESPN's Monday Night Countdown devoted an entire segment to the Nike deal itself, treating it less like a sports business footnote and more like breaking news on par with roster decisions. That type of media treatment reinforces why Nike's investment goes beyond sneakers. It's reshaping how rookies are covered. Sanders has become a content engine, and in an era where engagement equals dollars, that makes him as valuable to broadcast partners as he is to the Browns. Sponsorship dominoes are already falling in line. Sources close to Sanders' camp have hinted at potential agreements with Gatorade and Beats, both of which have historically targeted young NFL stars to carry their brand in crossover markets. Fanatics, the NFL's primary merchandise distributor, confirmed a 41% spike in Browns sales in August, with Sanders accounting for the overwhelming majority of those purchases. Even sportsbooks have reported higher than usual handle for Browns-related wagers, with DraftKings citing a 33% increase in futures bets tied to Sanders' rookie performance compared to other quarterbacks in his draft class. The halo effect around Sanders is measurable across industries, creating a rare moment where a rookie is not only a player but also an economic driver. Fan sentiment reflects the shift as well. In Cleveland, local radio polls showed 68% of respondents viewed the Nike deal as good for the team and city, citing increased exposure and potential for national respect. On social media, Sanders trended across multiple weekends, with hashtags linking his name to phrases like "face of Nike" and "changing the league." But the excitement is balanced by skepticism. A vocal minority of fans have questioned whether the deal puts too much pressure on Sanders before he's proven himself, drawing comparisons to Johnny Manziel's hype-filled but short-lived Cleveland stint. The difference, of course, is scale. Manziel was a local story that flamed out, while Sanders is a global story with Nike's machine behind him. Culturally, the Sanders-Nike partnership taps into a narrative that extends beyond the NFL. His father, Deion Sanders, revolutionized athlete marketing in the 1990s with campaigns that made prime time a household name, and Nike is openly leaning into that legacy. Commercials featuring father and son together are already in development, blending nostalgia with modern star power. For Nike, the Sanders family represents not just football, but entertainment, style, and cultural relevance. That's why this deal matters in a way no standard rookie endorsement has before. It ties the Browns' rookie quarterback to a broader story about family legacy, generational marketing, and and the NFL's evolving business landscape. And yet, the pressure is enormous. Every incomplete pass or sideline shot of Sanders carries weight far beyond the scoreboard. If he thrives, Nike looks like visionaries who redefined how rookies are marketed in the NFL. If he struggles, critics will frame it as the biggest branding overreach since Adidas built campaigns around Derrick Rose, only to watch his career stall. For now, the numbers show momentum on Nike's side. Jerseys sold out, ratings up, tickets moving. But sustaining that momentum will depend entirely on whether Sanders delivers on Sundays. Looking forward, the implications of Nike's gamble are as wide-ranging as they are uncertain. For Shedeur Sanders himself, this deal effectively accelerates his career clock. Most rookies are given time to develop, often shielded by the fact that their endorsement profiles are modest compared to veterans. Sanders doesn't have that luxury. His name, his jersey, and now his Nike shoe line are all tied to expectations of immediate performance. If he plays like a seasoned pro, he cements himself as the rare athlete whose brand value was correctly identified before his first NFL season. If he stumbles, he risks being cast not just as an underperforming rookie, but as an overmarketed figure whose hype outweighed his game. That distinction carries more weight because his endorsement dwarfs his NFL contract, a reminder every time his stats scroll across the screen. For the Browns, the path forward is delicate. Sanders' marketability guarantees more ticket sales, more national broadcasts, and more fan engagement than Cleveland has enjoyed in years. That visibility is a financial boon, but it also ties the franchise's image more tightly to one player than is typical for a rookie. If Sanders becomes the face of the team, the Browns could see a revenue boom, with projections suggesting merchandise sales alone could increase by 25 to 30% over the next 2 years. But there's a flip side. Should his development lag, or should the team struggle? The criticism will not just hit Sanders, but the entire organization for banking too heavily on a rookie spotlight. A misstep here could revive comparisons to the Manziel era, where hype overshadowed results, except this time with far higher financial stakes. Nike's position is equally precarious. Their track record with athletes like LeBron James and Serena Williams shows they're capable of identifying stars early and building global campaigns around them. But football is a different animal. It's less global than basketball. The careers are shorter, and quarterbacks face higher injury risk. By making Sanders the highest paid rookie endorsement ever, Nike is essentially betting that he can transcend the sport itself, becoming a cultural figure who sells shoes and apparel regardless of performance. If he lives up to the hype, Nike gains the blueprint for future partnerships with high-profile rookies. College stars with big followings could command 8-figure deals before ever stepping onto the field. If he doesn't, Nike risks a costly lesson that football endorsements aren't as bankable as those in basketball. For the NFL, the long-term impact is just as significant. Rookie endorsement money has never rivaled player contracts, but Sanders' deal flips that script. If Sanders succeeds, it could spark a trend where other top college quarterbacks leverage their NIL-built followings into massive pro endorsements. That would change the economics of rookie contracts, making players less dependent on their NFL salaries and potentially altering collective bargaining dynamics. Teams may also have to navigate locker room tensions more carefully, as players earning modest salaries watch rookies walk in with endorsement checks that exceed their own earnings. The league thrives on parity, but massive brand deals concentrated on a handful of young players could create new rifts. Projections already hint at where this might lead. If Sanders posts even an average rookie season, say 3,200 yards, 17 touchdowns, and a completion rate near 62%, Nike can spin that as validation for their investment, pairing modest numbers with flashy marketing campaigns. In that scenario, the Browns likely see a steady boost in attendance, with secondary ticket prices remaining above 2019 levels by as much as 35%. National broadcasts would increase, giving Cleveland 2 or 3 additional primetime slots next year, a scheduling shift the NFL uses to capitalize on stars. Conversely, if Sanders underperforms, struggles with accuracy, fails to crack 2,500 yards, or loses the starting role, the Browns could see attendance plateau, and Nike would face the challenge of marketing an athlete who isn't delivering on the field. That tension would reverberate spotlight throughout the league, raising questions about whether brands can really afford to crown stars before their first snap. What this means for fans is a new kind of engagement. Sanders' games will draw not just Browns diehards, but casual viewers curious about whether Nike's investment was justified. That curiosity will inflate viewership, drive up fantasy football interest, and boost prop betting handles tied to his performance. But the curiosity comes with a shelf life. If Sanders thrives, it sustains itself. If he struggles, the novelty wears off, and the narrative pivots from excitement to criticism. Nike and the NFL both know this, which is why the spotlight on Sanders' first season will be more intense than almost any rookie in history. The takeaway from all of this is simple but powerful. Nike didn't just sign a rookie, they redrew the map for how athletes enter the NFL. By making Shedeur Sanders the highest paid rookie ever in endorsement terms, they've elevated him from quarterback prospect to cultural lightning rod. That means every snap, every press conference, and every stat line will be judged not only by football standards, but by business and branding expectations as well. Cleveland hasn't seen this kind of spotlight in decades, and the NFL itself is watching closely to see if this becomes the new normal for marketable rookies with massive college followings. The story is still unwritten, and that's what makes it so captivating. If Sanders lives up to the hype, this could be the template that changes rookie economics forever, opening the door for NIL-era stars to cash in before proving themselves on the field. If he stumbles, it could become one of the most expensive marketing misfires in sports history, teaching brands to be more cautious with unproven talent. Either way, the NFL has never seen a rookie quite like this, and the next few months will define not only Sanders' career trajectory, but the future of how rookies are valued by corporations. So here's the question fans and analysts alike will have to wrestle with. Does this deal put Sanders on the fast track to becoming the next great NFL star, or has Nike handed him a burden no rookie could possibly carry? And when the dust settles, who will feel the consequences more? The quarterback trying to prove himself, the Browns banking on his growth, or the company that just shocked the league by betting bigger on a rookie than ever before?